All right. Hey, Shalom. Shalom. First and
Shalom.
foremost, Shalom. First and foremost, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rachakwadash, and double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, as well as the men that taught them, and peace and blessings to all Joachim out there who pushing his word with all truth and sincerity, and as well as to all you believers out there who believe in on the gospel. And hey, there's a couple of brothers from the Great Millstone Houston camp. I'm the brother Korah Abad. And as always, we got the beloved Elder Taza Pa as well. And the water, Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai for blessing us with another opportunity to come forth and prophesy, to bring forth news, which, hey, that's what ultimately he sent us here in the last days to do. That's our main job. Though some of us may be salesmen, though some of us may be carpenters, some brothers may be, whatever brothers do. But our main job is to come out and tell the world about the events that the Lord will allow to take place here in the last days, man. So that's what we have been taught here at Great Millstone by our apostles and elders, that the focal point is prophecy. Matter of fact, before I get this on the Taza Paul, if you have anything, the floor is yours.
Oh man, go ahead, get it up. You good?
This Revelation chapter 19 and 10, going back to the point, we have been taught prophecy, man. Why? Because this is the main thing. This is what's important. Even when our Lord Jehovah Shai came on the earth, he wasn't just talking about just anything that was written in the scrolls. No, he was going into the prophetic verses, things that needed to happen in order for the story to play out. Well, that's why it's important to always constantly touch on the news. You have a lot of people out there, or a lot of camps wondering why Great Millstone always talking about the same thing. Why y'all always talking about the MOTB? Why y'all always talking about famines, which are doomsday prophets? Well, yeah, that's what the Bible says is coming. Mm-hmm. But I read this real quick. Revelation 19 and 10, it says, and I fell, this is Apostle John. It says, and I fell at his feet to worship him, and he fell at the angel feet. And it says, and he said unto me, see thou do it not. I am thy fellow servant and of thy brethren that have the testimony of Yahweh Shai. Worship the Most High is the point. For the testimony of Yahweh Shai is the spirit of prophecy, man. So that's what we focus on here in the latter days. There's many things and many different topics that could be talked about within or should I say between Genesis, the Apocrypha, and Revelation, but the main topic is prophecy. But yep. You have anything on the Taza Pop before we hop into it?
Yeah, you mentioned the prophets of doom, the prophet Jeremiah, chapter 28, verse 8. It says that the prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries and against great kingdoms, of war and of evil and of pestilence. All right. And none of that sounds lovely and enjoyable. And how much more in these times? Man, this world is tearing itself apart at the seams. It's man, it's bizarro world in the world, man. It's crazy, bro. I can't even put it in words. How life is right now, it's unbelievable. And I'm talking about from the things people are doing to the things people are saying. You got these bugged out, way off doctrines. Coming from men who claim to be Israelites, which I mean, they are Israelites, but let's say claim to be rulers or leaders of Israel.
Right.
And you got a lot going on, and it's easy to get caught up with the madness or either let it get you distracted and pulled off in another direction. But this is why, man, and the scripture said, well, we always bring out Isaiah 33 and 6. But this is why I said that, man, because we are in chaos. We are in chaotic times. We're in perilous times. But yeah, Isaiah 33 and 6, It says, and wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times and strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord is his treasure. All right. And yeah, that, man, it's a blessing to have this knowledge or this, as it worded, wisdom and knowledge in these times, you know, because it's easy to get bugged out. And all week it's like, I don't know if I'm thrown off from last week, from the holiday, but I've been a day behind all week. It's like, damn, where did the time go? It's even time is moving even faster, you know? And it's just a feeling. It's a feeling in the air, man, like of wrath and vengeance. It's like it just feels like wrath and vengeance in the atmosphere. But yeah, I can tell, man, the Lord, his return is getting close. But anyway, go ahead.
Now that's it, you know, and especially over not just in the world, but it feel like it's a dark cloud over America, like
Yeah,
something
like a dark.
happened.
Yeah, that con, brother. Con. Yep, you good.
So we'll hop straight into it, which is again is many things going on in the earth. You having earthquakes still. You have wars with a S plural and rumors of wars. The MOTB, the digital system still being built around the people. So a lot of things are happening. But we'll touch on two events, and that's building on World War III. And again, when the Lord said it's gonna be wars and rumors of wars, see, people don't take the rumors serious. See, people don't take the rumors serious, you know, and because a rumor could be died down, you know, because people could hype it up so much, an event so much, say it's supposed to be a war or a fight. You know, people could hype up a war so much, and then you know it start to be skirmishes. Then it die down. Then it's all, I ain't about to do nothing. Then eventually something else happened and it died down. Many always do that. Many always, you know, fuss and fight. They always shoot and shoot drones. But the thing is, what people don't see, what are those false flags doing? That's like somebody effing at you. You know, they get a little too close. You know, it's like somebody effing. They keep doing little shit. The little thing is gonna lead to, all right, bro, I had enough. See, the little thing is gonna lead to the major event. It ain't just World War III and now is missiles flying. And this is what Eldar Riala, I know Eldar Riala, he often mentioned this on the algorithm lessons. Wars don't start just you start fighting. No, it's things before that. You have smaller wars, you have rumors here and there, you know, the economy and different things happen before the actual major war. And that's what we seeing play out. And now in this event, we have some major hitters, you know, who gonna take part in World War III, who gonna take part in the destruction of Israel and America, right? They're in the midst of this event, these events that's going on. But so you had this drone strike from Ukraine. I'll read a little bit into it, and we'll play a couple videos here in a few. And let me know if you got some advertiser, Paul.
All right.
This is just an AI overview, real quick to open it up, just in case some may not be, you know, privy to it. But from AI overview, it says Ukraine launched a major drone attack on Russian military air bases on June 1st. So 4 days ago, it says June 1st, 2025. This attack, dubbed Operation Spider's Web, targeted 4 air bases, including ones deep inside Russia, striking strategic cruise missile carrying bombers. The operation aimed to disrupt Russia's military capabilities and send a message that nowhere is safe. You have anything just reading that?
No, come brother. I think it was actually 5 spots though. But you know, who to say at this point? But I believe it was 5. But yeah, brother, that I ain't had nothing.
and see and looking through the lens of prophecy, like when people reading this, they get happy. Like, okay, they did something. You know, they kind of hurt Russia a bit. Granted, I'm like it's gonna say right here, 34% of the cruise missiles carrying bomber fleets, they said it was destroyed. But at the end of the day, that's not going to stop or take away from Russia playing a part they're going to play for the Lord in the end time for prophecy's sake, with World War III being the main nation to destroy America. See, a lot of people could fall for this and think, oh shit, Ukraine, they doing a little something. And again, at the end of the day, a lot of these people still on the same page anyway. They in on it. Right. But I read this. It says, here's a detailed look. It says target an attack focused on strategic air bases where Russian bombers, including those capable of carrying nuclear weapons. It says Ukraine used small, relatively cheap kamikaze drones launched from locations close to Russian borders to exploit the element of surprise. And Ukraine, and it's funny because the Russians feel played because where you at? What's your boy name? What's the dude from Ukraine? Zelensky.
Oh, you talking about Zelensky?
Yeah, he on the world tour right now. He loving it. He's stunned. You know, talking about
right.
We showed him. You know, you got it.
No, that you good.
No, he going around, he boasting in it. And so Russia knows, like, bro, you read in the video, you know, kind of with the info you was telling me at first, Russia, man, they was, you know, well, that's adds on to this video right here that we'll play that you was telling me about before the lesson, you know, but you know how they had they stuff out, but Russia was like, bro, you boasting and stuff, you ain't really do nothing. So now they feel extra played, you know, so now they gonna have to retaliate, which they did on a small scale so far.
They extra salty.
Yeah.
No, you good, brother.
Yeah, no, I read two more lines. It says the impact, Ukrainian officials claimed the attacks damaged or destroyed 34% of Russia's strategic cruise missiles. It says significance. The attack is considered a major escalation. See, the rumors of wars and the small wars of escalations to World War III. Right, but we'll go into these videos if you ain't have anything.
Yep. Okay, no, you good.
All right, cool. And Shalom to Allah Akim Akwath who may be tuning in. Y'all watching my Shabbat Thumb.
Yeah, come on, Shalom.
So this from 4 days ago. BBC News. It says Ukraine says at least 40 Russian warplanes hit in massive drone strike.
Let's turn to some breaking news in the last half hour. And Ukraine claims to have hit more than 40 Russian bombers in what the country's security service says is a large-scale special operation aimed at destroying enemy bomber aircraft. Ukraine's released this footage, which it says shows a drone attack at the Belaya Air Base in Siberia. And on the footage, which I don't believe we are able to actually show you at the moment, but you can see explosions visible with smoke rising. Reports suggest other aircraft have been attacked at the Olenia Air Base near Murmansk. Well, Russian media is reporting the attack in Murmansk, but says air defences are working. Well, let's go straight to our world affairs correspondent, Paul Adams, who is in Kyiv. Paul, this is just a developing story, so just tell us what more you can add to what we've said.
Yeah, it's certainly developing, and the information is coming thick and fast. You know, Ukrainians have experienced moments of euphoria when their military has conducted successful operations against major Russian military targets in the past. One thinks about the attack on the flagship of the Black Sea Fleet, the Moskva, and the attack on the Kerch Bridge, both of those back in 2022. Already.
And another thing, I don't want to stop it, I'm just let it play. But to another thing, and this could be a distraction for what Israel got going on right now too.
Right.
In Gaza.
Yeah. Exactly.
Because I'm looking at the bottom. As this was 4 days ago. It's talking about how the Israelis killed 31 people fleeing for aid and so on and so forth. So this could be just a whole distraction. You got it.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. Right. Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, all
Already
of this,
people,
what you were saying, this is it's in it's in preparation for the big one. All right. All of this that's going on. Ukraine, Taiwan, even in Gaza, that's our prelim for the big show, you know. But right, man, tempers are starting to flare, man. Attitudes are being shapen. And, it's about to get real. Cause you know how and you like to go into how Putin was damn, it's military helicopters flying by right now. Like,
Come on, man. We seen some of them on our lunch break. We seen two
right,
of them.
they've been heavy, bro. And coming through here, about 4 of them. But yeah, man, you made me lose my train of thought. But anyway, if you ain't had nothing, I got a scripture right quick.
You got it.
All right, so I'm gonna go to the book of Psalm 52, verse 20. It says, "He had put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. He had broken his covenant." All right, and you're gonna play that video in a minute. It speaks about that treaty that Ukraine and Russia had. That they some say they violated it, but they definitely took advantage of it. All right, this treaty that you're gonna hear about in a minute. But I brought this up in my lesson Sunday. The Lord would plead with the Medes. All right, and what I was saying by that, it's not to say I'm gonna go to the scripture right quick. It's not to say the Lord is going to go to and beg the Medes, who are the Medes are in reference to Russia today. And we're gonna get that. But it means that, well, let me read the scripture. I want to go here right quick, Isaiah 66 and 15. To just give a brief understanding. So in Isaiah chapter 66, verse 15, it says, "For behold, Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, will come with fire and with his chariots like a whirlwind to render his anger with fury and his rebuke with flames of fire. For by fire and by his sword will the Lord plead with all flesh." And that's what I meant. The Lord is going to plead with the Medes. All right. A lot of that fire is going to come by way of Russia. Now the chariot's going to burn some shit up. All right. Before the total annihilation. But the main destruction is going to come by way of thermonuclear fire. And so Russia's going to have a major part in that, but they won't be alone. They will be assisted by China, North Korea, Iran, all right, as well as Babylon's allies. They all going to get a piece of the action. Yeah. All right. So that's what it means going back Isaiah 66 and 16, for by fire and by his sword will Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, plead with all flesh. All right. And the slain of the Lord shall be many. And y'all think it's a game. And the Lord is showing you, and this is the importance of the prophets. If it wasn't for us here telling you, then the Lord showing you wouldn't have any effect. But by us telling you, that establishes one thing. These scriptures are the word of the Lord. Well, let's from off the top, Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shai exists. That's off the top. And then 2, this Bible is the word of Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shai. And if you don't see that now, that's definitely because the Lord don't love you. All right. So the Lord got us out here prophesying, preaching these scriptures. So when they manifest into our reality, you're supposed to say, oh, shit, them the men of the Lord. But y'all ain't paying attention. Y'all looking at Diddy, Daddy, everything else, but what you're supposed to be looking at and focused on. That's why the scripture speaks about having your eyes single. Therefore, your body can be full of light. But y'all are all over the place, except where you're supposed to be, as usual, as lost sheep, scattered all over your attention, all over the place. As a people, y'all all over the place. But anyway, go ahead, bro. Oh, back to Psalms. So back in Psalms 55. Oh, and to make my point, yeah, Russia was chilling. That was the point I made in the video. The Lord would plead with the Medes. As far as they wasn't starting war. Now, I don't know what they were doing subvertly, or, you know, I don't know what black ops they may have had going on, but they don't have, Russia does not have military bases all over the world. Russia does not place sanctions on people just because they don't get their way. Russia was chilling, trying to make deals, build their country. They trying to come up in the world. All right. So, and that's why I want to go to that in Psalm 55 and 20. Again, he had put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. Russia was not, you know, and they spoke about the Cold War and all of that. Russia dissolved the Soviet Union. And now we get to the point of what this is really about. And this is about the Most High putting hooks into the jaws of Russia to reestablish that Soviet Union, to burn, to Isaiah 66 and 15 and 16. And that's what this is about. But you talk to people here in America, oh, Putin is horrible. Putin, I don't know what got in it. Even Trump came out and said, Putin act like he's lost his mind. I don't know what's gotten into Putin. You know, I was talking to my supervisor and I almost went off. I was like, no, look, the U.S. constantly is breaching treaties. Anybody, if you was in Putin's place, you would do exactly what Putin did. He's defending his country and his people. Now, Putin, the most magnificent, magnanimous, most loveliest human being on the face of the earth, I ain't never said that. What I'm saying is he's acting logically to a threat that was facing him and his country. What's insane or what makes him a madman about doing that? But see, people here in America, they're fed these narratives, all right, through the mind control media or the mind control tool called the media. And they feed them this propaganda. And when you talk to people, you get talking points. You don't get and the word just slipped me, but you don't get a logical conversation. You just get you get what the government put in them, and that's a copper top, a parrot. And that's what America has become: a bunch of non-thinking, go along to get along, you know, just whatever, man. But anyway, Isaiah 55 and 21 says, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. You know, now we use this as it applies to us, but this is, I'm using it as his overall MO. And this is talking about Esau, Edom. All right. So this is how he operates. And that's what he did in Ukraine. So whether you say, oh, it was Ukraine, oh, well, it was US in the Ukraine, oh, well, Britain had a hand in it, well, it's all Edom. It's still all Edom. They all operate the same. And so I'm just bringing this out to give you an MO so you can start putting the picture together for yourself and see this is how this man operates. They're drawing Putin out. And what you call it, Genesis don't like it. Go jump off a goddamn bridge. Oh, they use Isaiah 49 and 20 to say that the small hat's gonna draw them out into war. He's saying that it's talking about them taking our children. So he going to these other versions. But it says specifically in that verse that the Lord was going to empty the land. But I don't mean to ramble on. But that's what's happening. They're drawing them out. The least of the flock is drawing everybody out into this third woe. And so again, Psalm 55 and 21, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. All right, so you got it out.
No, that's it. And because again, as it is written, these nations, they gonna be, is some America gonna do to where they gonna say enough is enough and then shoot missiles at America. The thing is, so before that, it ain't just gonna be like a one-time thing. No, it's gonna be the last straw. So we're gonna have to see people messing with Ukraine, or in Russia. I mean, Ukraine, Israel, and America messing with Russia, messing with China, messing with Iran, messing with Turkey. Even the allies will have to start seeing these things. So therefore, they gonna be justified in why we willing to shoot missiles now. So that's why, again, man, that's why it's so interesting to just watch the story play out.
That's right. That's right.
But I'll play this next video just from ABC News, put out 8 hours ago. It says Trump, because he had a phone call with Putin. It says Putin plans to retaliate for Ukraine's drone attack.
To the latest on the war in Ukraine, Vladimir Putin says Russia will retaliate against Ukraine for its drone attack, targeting air bases deep inside Russia. Our chief global affairs anchor, Martha Raddatz, is on the scene in Ukraine. Good morning, Martha.
Good morning, Michael. This morning here in Ukraine, Russia on the offense and promising further retaliation after Ukraine's bold attack on Russia's warplanes. Overnight, Russia launching a series of brutal strikes against Ukraine. Officials say over 100 Russian drones and a ballistic missile struck targets all over the country, leaving several people dead and dozens injured. Here you can see explosions across the southern city of Kherson. Ukrainian officials say Russia dropped 4 guided bombs in the center of the city, badly damaging its government buildings. The attacks come as new video shows Ukraine's astonishingly well-coordinated drone attack, known as Operation Spiderweb, that left Russia stunned and some of its warplanes in flames.
And if I can say this, because Lord willing, you'll speak on the other times of power whenever we go to that lesson. But if they see how Russia just got his his drones, his warplanes just laid out.
Right.
People how they just laid out. Right. I'll go ahead and play it.
Officials say Russia dropped 4 guided bombs in the center of the city, badly damaging its government buildings. The attacks come as new video shows Ukraine's astonishingly well-coordinated drone attack, known as Operation Spiderweb, that left Russia stunned and some of its warplanes in flames. U.S. officials saying a swarm of 100 drones hidden atop trucks and containers with retractable roofs descending on multiple airfields deep inside Russia. These satellite images show the aftermath, multiple nuclear-capable aircraft destroyed.
I think that it's very important now to start to speak with Russia in the languages of strength, because it's one language which this country understands.
Days following the extraordinary strike, another blow to Russia, Ukraine detonating bombs underneath the only bridge connecting Russia to occupied Crimea. Vladimir Putin in a call with President Trump vowing retaliation. President Trump posting, Putin did
Who
say
looked like
and
he
very
needed a drink?
strongly that he will have to respond.
Would you say here like you need a break?
A drink. On that picture they just showed, he looked like he lost his best
Vladimir
friend.
Putin in
God.
Yeah. You good. You got
call
it out.
with President Trump vowing retaliation. President Trump posting, Putin did say and very strongly that he will have to respond to the recent attack. Ukraine is now braced for further attacks, prompting the U.S. Embassy here in Ukraine to warn citizens to seek out shelter locations.
So Russia did a little something, but they ain't done yet. You know, they ain't done yet.
They're just getting warmed up.
I read this. You got something?
No, you good.
I read this real quick. This was put out today, this morning at 9 a.m. It says 8:59 a.m. It's from Fox News. It says Russia drone strike kills 5 in Ukraine after Putin promised retaliation in Trump call. So they ain't done no. You know, well, for the believer's sake, Lord willing, they not done. You know, Lord willing, more come. Lord willing, they don't stop. You see, so on and so forth. So they retaliated a little bit.
Right,
Now,
a little bit.
yep.
Uh,
Now I had this video. I'm gonna play just a little bit of it. This is your boy. He going on tour, you know, like him. But it
Right.
says Ukraine's drone attack, a humiliation that reveals tactical weakness in Russia, and that's why Russia hot, because they're like, ain't no tactical weakness. You know, they ain't do nothing. They're like pretty much they ain't really do nothing. Now, granted, yeah, they did have things that was destroyed, so to speak. But again, according to prophecy, Russia's still gonna play that part. And that's just you just poking the butt, as they say, poking the bell.
I know. Man.
But I'll play just a couple minutes of this other time of point. We'll get straight into this one.
Okay. Yeah, you good.
Yep. And it's from this 3 days ago from NBC News.
We are going to turn to Ukraine's stunning and complex drone attack on Russia, reaching deep inside the country, delivering both a military.
That's another thing. They bigging it up like Ukraine just bad like that out of nowhere. They just got skill.
Right.
You know, the American people gonna go for it. Well, you see what they did? No, man.
And strategic blow to Moscow. According to Ukrainian officials, Ukraine was able to smuggle drones into Russia, place them on trucks, and then remotely launch them to strike Russian military facilities. The strike, dubbed Operation Spiderweb, involved 117 drones and more than 18 months of planning, resulting in the damage or destruction of 41 Russian aircraft, according to Ukraine's security services. NBC News has not been able to independently verify those claims. Now, President Zelensky was in Lithuania today for a summit with European leaders and touted the operation's success.
Europe, together with America, has better weapons than Russia. We also have stronger tactical solutions. Our Operation Spiderweb yesterday proved that. Russia must feel what its losses mean. That is what will push it toward diplomacy. And when Russia takes losses in this war, it's obvious to everyone that Ukraine is the one holding the line, not just for itself, but for all of Europe.
Meanwhile, Russia and Ukrainian officials met in Istanbul today for a previously scheduled second round of direct peace negotiations. Joining me now is NBC News Chief International Correspondent Keir Simmons and Richard Haass, the President Emeritus at the Council on Foreign Relations. So, Keir, what more do we know about this attack by Ukraine and the planning that went into it?
I'm Coulter. I'm Trent. And we are co-founders of Sun.
It's all good. We can go to that video you had. And these videos and these articles, these videos, these articles that we touching on again. We, as always, we might not hit everything or watch them all, but they're in the description box right now. But let's go ahead and hop into this one.
I got Ezekiel 38 for you. Play that one.
You got it.
All right, I'm gonna start at the top. Ezekiel chapter 38, verse 1. And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him. All right, and so this is talking about Russia. Prophesy against Russia. All right, Gog in the land of Magog is the land of Russia today. All right, the chief prince of Meshech is the chief prince. Meshech is Moscow. And Tubal, that's Turkey, which we got that specifically from Apostle Ramlah. And it says, which, you know, we had, that's what I had thought from my old notes, but we had a kind of a discrepancy, but then the apostle had straightened it out. So Tubal is going into Turkey. It says, and prophesy against him and say, thus said the Lord power. Behold, I am against thee, O God, chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws. All right. So they're going to be turned back to the Soviet Union, as I was mentioning earlier, that was dissolved in 1991 under Reagan. All right. But now you know how things are shaping up. We see this coming into play, this very prophecy right here. All right. And again, Ezekiel 38:4, behold, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth in all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. All right. Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet. All right. But the point is that Russia is being turned back through these actions. When at first they were seeking to be they were really trying to be a world power. You know, nobody likes a world power that's a bully. So they've been, you know, trying to make peace with it, even with Ukraine. You cannot tell me that Putin has not been constantly calling for ceasefires and trying to end the conflict, because all he asked for is for NATO to stay out of Ukraine. You know, they wasn't being unreasonable, unmanageable. They wasn't being difficult. They just wanted NATO and the West to abide by the treaty and the agreements within the treaty. And they simply refused because the small hats want war. Because the small hats want you dead. So, and I don't know, Putin might be in on it, because it's all theater of war. But you know, I don't know. He is trained up in the you know, the these secret societies. You know, I forget specifically which one. You might know that one.
Yeah, he said Klaus Schwab said, which Klaus Schwab within the World Economic Forum, and he was speaking at a World Economic Forum some years ago, and he was bragging on, he was like, yeah, because our job as the World Economic Forum, what we do is we penetrate cabinets. You know, we penetrate cabinets, governments around the world You know, they
Right.
follow our policies. And he said many of the leaders you see today, they came in as young leaders. He said, for example, Angela Merkel. He said Vladimir Putin. He said all of them started young. So they all in on it. But you got it.
Right. No, the water. That's beautiful. That's right. And yeah, so Putin, he was in one of those, you know, societies. So what they do, obviously, is groom leaders to be put in these strategic positions, to put the people at variance with one another. So they do eventually go to war or call for war. They'll call for it, problem reaction, call for war, and then the solution is what they wanted all the time. Classic Hegelian dialectic is everybody going to war. So yeah, that's how it rolls. But yeah, brother, I think about 6 minutes in on that clip is when he goes into that treaty, the START treaty. And that's what made it that's what made the drone attack so successful, is because in that treaty they have to keep their jet and fighter planes out in the open. And the guy's gonna go into it, so I'm gonna let him explain it. But that's how they was able to make such a, I guess, you know, potent attack, because the jets was wide open. But anyway, brother, you got it.
I got that
Brother,
video.
if you got something, yeah.
No, I got that video real quick just to back up what we were saying from Putin. I mean, from Klaus Schwab about these leaders.
And I have to say, when I mention our names like Mrs. Merkel, even Vladimir Putin and so on, they all have been young global leaders of the World Economic Forum. But what we are very proud of now is the young generation, like Prime Minister Trudeau, President of Argentina, and so on, is that we penetrate the cabinets. So yesterday I was at a reception for Prime Minister Trudeau, and I know that half of this cabinet, or even more, half of this cabinet, are actually young global leaders of the World Economic Forum.
That's true in Argentina as well.
It's true in Argentina, and it's true in France now. I'm with the president, who is a young global leader. But what is important for me is those young global leaders have an opportunity to come here. And we, in addition to the young global
leaders. And that's the point. And so the actual video, what it say, the title of the actual video is Strengthening Collaboration in a Fractured World, featuring special guest Yo-Yo Ma. But what he telling you is, yeah, we a lot of people who in these higher up spots, we run them, we rule them. They doing what we say.
That's right.
And the cabinet, you know, if some, you know, like a kitchen cabinet came to mind, but that's your team. If you're the president or you know, a prime minister, that's your team behind you. But I'll go ahead and play this video. So this from Reason to Resist with Dmitry Leskaris, and it's from 2 days ago. And it says Trump and NATO's Ukrainian proxy are playing with nuclear fire. And let me know what you got, Elder Tazabah.
Nah, I ain't had nothing. I was gonna let the video play.
As the British. This time round, the difference is that we have explosives weaponized in the form of drones, composed and combined.
You have to go
at
back
least some of them in a plant, a factory, a warehouse, to Georgia, and then into Armenia, and then onto the bridge, in which apparently unknowing drivers at the end were guided by Ukrainian Secret Service operators, and the detonation triggered remotely. The operation involved foreign intelligence agencies, at the time identified on the Russian side as the British. This time round, the difference is that we have explosives weaponized in the form of drones, composed and combined at least some of them in a plant, a factory, a warehouse in Chelyabinsk region, placed aboard truck trailers, which were then moved across Russia to be very close to nuclear arms Air Force bases in the north, in Murmansk region, in the south, in Irkutsk, in the east, in Amur region, as well as Ivanovo and Ryazan near Moscow. 5 bases were hit. On the tarmacs of those bases required by the inspection protocols of the US, Russian START and other related disarmament or nuclear arms treaties, those planes had to be outside of protection, outside of concealment, outside of revetments, so they could be photographed from the air. The satellite pictures of one of those bases, the Alenia base.
So, yeah, he was just saying, per that treaty, that their planes had to be out in the open so that they could be photographed from the air. You know, and that was in the treaty. Russia, oh horrible Putin, was abiding by the guidelines of the treaty. Play that one more time.
Region, as well as Ivanovo and Ryazan near Moscow. 5 bases were hit. On the tarmacs of those bases required by the inspection protocols of the US, Russian START and other related disarmament or nuclear arms treaties, those planes had to be outside of protection, outside of concealment, outside of revetments, so they could be photographed from the air. The satellite pictures
protocol. Yeah, for inspection. But go ahead.
God.
One of those bases, the Alenia base, was shown in 2024 by an American blogger, and the invitation to attack them by a proxy not related to the United States was made pretty plain a year ago. The claim that more than 40 aircraft have been destroyed at a penalty cost of some multiple of billions of dollars is almost certainly exaggerated. Based on the Ukrainian supplied videos, I think we're talking about somewhere between 5 and 10 aircraft damaged or destroyed. But the number is not so important. The logistic modus operandi, not so important. The fundamental thing to understand here is that a red line of gigantic meaning has been breached. And that is to say, here was a proxy enemy of Russia attacking the nuclear capable weapons of Russia required for mutual assured destruction in any nuclear war contest between Russia and the United States, or between Russia, France, and Russia and Britain, but since they're minor, this is the basis for more than a generation of nuclear assured deterrence, of nuclear weapon stability, of deterring nuclear war between the two superpowers, the two nuclear armed powers, Russia and the United States. By this means, the United States has been able to demonstrate, and those who believe the United States and its allies could make a surprise attack on Russia and win a nuclear war by attacking first and destroying Russia's capability to defend and retaliate. They have been encouraged by this. The Russian side, it has been shown, was unable to effectively suppress the firing points. Effectively suppress the firing points was the phrase that President Putin used on May 22 in a meeting with government ministers to say, this is what we have decided to do in relation to Ukrainian drone, artillery, and missile attacks on the westernmost regions of Russia, including Novorossiya regions of Donetsk, Kherson, Zaporozhye, and Lugansk. He said at the time, we are aiming to effectively suppress the firing points. And that was understood to refer to the special military operation, creating a buffer zone as part of the peace agreement and the ceasefire arrangements in negotiation with the US and the Ukraine.
So Trump was coming out saying, I don't know what Putin has gone mad. what was agreed to is that Russia could suppress the firing points of where these drones was coming from off of the border to give them a buffer zone. That was agreed to. So again, per the treaty and the guidelines within the treaty, Russia was acting within bounds on the attacks that they did, because they were just aiming. They wasn't destroying infrastructure. They wasn't targeting civilians. They were suppressing fire to give them a buffer zone. And as you see, that buffer zone is necessary, all right, because this attack proves Russia's point that Ukraine should remain neutral. So just imagine if NATO was in there. Look at the shit they doing now. So just imagine if NATO was set up in Ukraine. Russia wouldn't get no rest, and they know it. So, right, this just proves Putin and Russia's point that Ukraine should stay out of NATO. But, you know, people see what they want to see. But, right, he dropping some real good points. And earlier he was speaking about the mutual assured destruction. That was heavy when he spoke about the red line that was crossed.
Yeah,
that was heavy because, right, you kind of, and like you were saying, Russia is not depleted by far, but they did take a nice little hit.
Mm-hmm.
So that puts a cramp in there. If they was to get attacked, they couldn't retaliate, Salakia. All right, they couldn't retaliate, so that effectively destroys the deterrent. Well, not it has the capability of destroying the deterrent, which is both sides got weapons. So I don't fire mine if you don't fire yours. But now if I take yours out, then that mutual assured destruction is dissolved. And so that's a very good point. And Putin is looking at all of this shit. You know, he's a strategist, a champion chess player. You know, so you know, yeah, he's not gonna let that slide. That is a major red line. So, you know, we're closer than even what we believe to our salvation. But yeah, brother, it sounded like you were saying something. You had something?
No, that was it. But and again, too, just you know, in case everybody caught, and if I'm mistaken, the reason Russia even matters because what Ukraine did, right? Russia, according to the treaty that they had, because of inspections, was supposed to leave those warplanes out
in the open. Yeah,
out in the open, according to the treaty. And the thing why it's so messed up, and so Ukraine just came and sent drones while Russia was following the laws of the treaty, leaving them out for inspection.
So
and
they could be
Ukraine came in
inspected.
and boom.
That's it.
So Putin, them like, bruh,
I know I can't win. We can't win. So that's why he said, yeah, World War III. He said, yeah. He said, you playing with fire. I think Trump said, and then he said something to the fact that, you know what, I forget how it went, but shit, Putin like, yeah, and shit, Apostle Tahar crunk, I'm crunk. I know brothers got to be crunk, man.
Mm-hmm.
Shit, this place, man, Russia getting ready to toast this place. I don't know if people really realize that Putin don't play like that, man. This place is about to be cooked, man. I was really thinking about that reality last night. And even being in this truth, man, that's still scary, bro. So we don't know if we don't know. we got hopes, but we don't know. But that's a reality. Missiles coming to this place, and it ain't like it wasn't a reality before, but I mean, this is an immediate threat.
We can see it now.
Con, what you had? You good?
I got a real quick one. Revelation 11:14. It says the second woe is past, and behold, the third woe, which is war. You had two wars so far, World War I and World War II. So Revelation 11:14, it says the second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. Man, we're at the doorsteps of World War III. The main thing, the main thing we waiting on to take place is that the MOTB be mandated for whatever reason, whatever event happens, mandated. Then after that, it's good. Like the Apostle always say, time will move fast in that time. It's moving fast now. How much more in that time?
Man, come on. Man, it might have been a little bit more on that, and maybe a couple of minutes.
Ukrainians. Well, this shows this event, the June Sunday attacks, show that the firing points have now entered Russia and could go anywhere, depending on the ingenuity, the effective concealment, and the coordination and simultaneity of the plan of attack in the future. And this is a nuclear arms threat to Russia.
And two, they said it. They saying it ain't just Ukraine either. They saying NATO took part in it. Now
they gonna go very convincingly. They gonna go as far as to say America. But you posted it right. You have to. That's like an hour-long video. You have to go back and watch it. But he asked him about it. All right. So the bald guy. That's his show, and he has this guy to the left on as a guest. All right, we didn't play the intro, but he's out there somewhere in Russia. All right, you could tell he has an accent, but right, he's gonna ask him later if he think Trump or America was in on it, and he said that you can't get me to believe that Trump didn't have knowledge on it. He may not have, they may not have participated, but Trump had knowledge of it, but everybody is saying, yeah, the US, yeah, that wasn't Ukraine alone, and I said at first, yeah, it was NATO, but it may specifically be the whore that sits upon NATO and the EU, and again, I was saying before the show started, Trump's silence says a whole lot, and they even mentioned that, and that's where I got that from. But it does. Trump not coming out and giving condolences or saying we condemn this attack, that speaks volumes. Why you not gonna condemn the attack? Even if you did do it, that's some snake devil shit that y'all do. At least come out and say, but Trump is in full King of Babylon mode. He's in the spirit of King of Babylon. He's beginning not to give a fuck. It's a man that's all about image, but I'm seeing a different Trump. But anyway, brother, go ahead.
Okay.
Therefore, what does it mean? What does it create? Well, in the first place,
John, before you go there, I want to ask you a question of the utmost importance. I think you've already foreshadowed your answer to this question, but I want to be very clear about this because it is critically important. In our prior discussions about the Ukraine war, you and I, it's fair to say, have questioned whether Donald Trump is truly committed to a durable peace in Ukraine. And as I mentioned in my introduction, Trump directed highly bellicose language at Russia's government only 4 days before the Ukrainian attack, saying that Russia was playing with fire. This is not unlike in my opinion, what happened with Nord Stream, where Joe Biden declared, standing beside the German chancellor at the time, that the US would end Nord Stream if Russia invaded Ukraine. And sure enough, someone blew it up a few months later. Personally, John, I find it inconceivable that Ukraine carried out these attacks without Trump's knowledge and approval. And I also think, although I'm not a military expert, that it's highly unlikely that the US government did not help Zelensky to carry out the attack, his regime to carry out the attack. Do you agree with that assessment? And whether you and I are of that view, would it not likely be the Russian government's view, which is the really important question, that the US government knew of and approved this attack?
Well, I agree with your analysis, Dimitri. And what's remarkable for our audience to understand is how many of the expert podcasters currently working in this area are coming to the same view. Colonel Lawrence Wilkerson, the former assistant and advisor to Secretary of State Colin Powell, made this very clear and lucidly a few hours ago. The podcasters from the United States are coming to the same view. Either Trump was knowing in advance and chooses to camouflage that. That's a point that I believe was the case during and after the attack on President Putin's helicopter, which occurred on May 20, when Putin visited the now liberated Kursk region. We don't need to go into details. I've gone into details for audience that wants to read the details. But Trump's behavior, his remarks, when he said that something's happened to Putin, the way he speaks, either he knew in advance and knew because he made his remarks 12 hours after the helicopter attack. He either had known or should have been briefed and did or didn't remember so well, or he didn't care. And the latter is as damaging from a Russian point of view as if he knew and calculated, because he was hostile. He warned, and the remarks in the tweet that followed that you quoted, May 27, he made his first remarks about the helicopter event on May 25. 2 days later, he's still attacking Putin and saying you're playing with fire. Well, the fire has been demonstrated to have been firepower of the Ukrainian side. Now, there are many Russians, including Oleg Tsarov.
That's pretty much it. So y'all can check the rest of it out. And as mentioned, we'll go to Isaiah 13.
I got one too.
Go ahead then while I get it.
This is Matthew chapter 24 and verse 3. It says, and as he sat upon a Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, tell us, and it's that him is Yahushua. Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and the end of the world? Now, some of these things he told them took place in during 70 AD, but also it says, and the sign of your coming and the end of the world. So he also told them some things that was going to happen in the end of the world. In verse 6, it says, and ye shall hear, and what we just spoke about, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. And we seeing that, man. And which at the end of the day is just the build up to the main thing. It says, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. So look, and that's another thing, you got these what is it, Christopher Green, from AMTV, I believe. And every video he put up is a breaking news, emergency, World War III just started. You have them,
right. Con.
They overdo the thumbnail, with the work, they'll take a picture looking worried with the missiles flying in the background and everything just instant now.
Right.
Watch this. And then at the end, and buy my shirt, buy my shirt and these MRE pack. But anyway, the point is,
man, I wish I had that program though. How they be doing them, the thumbnails and stuff.
God.
But yeah, you good.
But the thing is, our Lord told us we're gonna see the things. Don't get all worked up. It's just the beginning. And that's the point of continuing to warn, man. Staying consistent and warning, so everybody know. Look, it ain't yet, but it's coming. It's a step towards it. And it
consistency is the key. Yep, you said it. But that was it. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Verse 7, for nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines, pestilences, and earthquakes in diverse places, and all these are the beginning of sorrows, man. So we at the beginning of Jacob's trouble. It's starting. Jacob's trouble kind of have started. It's just the beginning of it. You know, it ain't full-blown, just full-blown Jacob's trouble yet. To how the scriptures say, you know, I quote what the Apostle Paul said. He said, I forget. He said somebody asked.
Today?
No, he been said it. It's some years ago.
Okay.
But he said, somebody asked him, how we gonna know we're in Jacob's trouble? He said, trust me, you gonna know when you're in Jacob's trouble.
Yeah.
The point
is, nobody gonna have to tell you.
You gonna have to ask. It's gonna be in our face, man. Full blown Jacob's trouble. But that was it on that advertiser. You got it.
All right, Brother Khan. This is Isaiah chapter 13, verse 17. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. And as forementioned, the Medes are in reference to Russia, all right? Because the actual Medes today, who and where are they? They're here, but they're not making any noise in the scope of prophecy or on the scale of prophecy. They're not carrying any weight in the world today. They had their time, as I said in the lesson, around 535 BC in the Medo-Persian Empire. They're not making any noise today. But their land, the people that are those Edomites that are in their land, the land of the Medes, they are the one which, that's Russia. That's the ones who the Lord is stirring up. We're seeing it. That was a major stir up with their drone attack on those long range bombers. Okay. So yeah, that as the priest Karabah mentioned, that's a poke directly in the eye of the bear. The bear been hibernating, but they doing their best to wake this bear up, and not just wake him up, but to piss him off and wake him up. And that's about what's getting ready to happen. Okay. But yeah, that was it right there. You had anything?
Yeah, we could end it. I just highlight this real quick, and I got 2 precepts on this, just because it wasn't a title. But just to further add on, remember what the Lord said, man. Yahweh Shai gave his prophecy when Satan be divided against Satan. And again, this could be just, a distraction too. And it could be leading to something.
Could be. Yep, that could be theater.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, you good.
Yep, not all of a sudden at first Trump and Elon, it was the best of buddies.
It was all yeah, my buddy looking at it.
Yeah, what's that? You like my best friend, like that Robin Big, Yeah, they had AI pictures of them at the carnival, but the point is, now they beefing. It's big beef.
Big beef right there.
You see, look, so look, this is the thing. This is why they're beefing. And we're gonna get into it, we'll wind it down. But so Trump, with his tax bill, different things. Elon Musk would he believe in like the EV, digital gasless cars, EV, so on and so forth, things like that. Even as his Space Force Dragon BS, that won't get as much funding as he wanted to or expected. So now he mad and he got a problem with Trump. And Trump said, he ain't say this, but it's a Prosperity company. He said, I'm standing on all 10. He said, I'm standing on all 10. He just mad. And I was gonna play a video, but it's all good. But yeah, Trump said this what it is. So now Elon Musk, he calling Trump out. We'll read some of those things. And so all Trump said, he said, I'm just disappointed in Elon. I'm disappointed in Elon, But I read a little bit. It says the U.S. president, now this was put out today. It says from RT News, Trump is very disappointed with Musk. It says the U.S. President Donald Trump has said he is very disappointed with Elon Musk following the tech billionaire's criticism of his tax and spending bill. Musk, the CEO of Tesla and SpaceX and owner of X, recently stepped down from Doge, a body created by Trump in his second term to implement widespread federal spending cuts, saying he will return to focus on his business ventures. And it says the speaker, speaking to reporters on Thursday, Trump said that Musk, who he claimed knew everything about the bill, suddenly had a problem with it when he found out that we're going to have to cut the EV mandate because that's billions and billions of dollars. So he was like, first of all, you knew about all this. Now it's hitting you. Now you got an issue. So now after that, Elon came out. This is from a Zero Hedge. It's from today as well, 4:20 p.m. So now Elon coming out, and he first he said this. Elon Musk, he says, time to drop the really big bomb. And this was scoring, hurt women do. They go on social media. Let me tell y'all what going live.
Yep.
So that's what Elon Musk did when Trump said, yeah, I'm just disappointed. He said, oh, that's it. So he went to X and said, time to drop the really big bomb. He added Donald Trump. At least he added him, I guess. He added Donald Trump and said, Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That is the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day, DJT. And then he said, mark this post for the future. The truth will come out. And then somebody said Trump should be impeached. And he said, yes. So he agreed with that. So he team anti-Trump right now. Now, again, this could be a distraction or it could lead to something. Look, things like this, mark this post for the future.
Right. Yep.
Truth gonna come out. So
yeah, that is a female move.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
So I just got two quick ones, and we can end it on Tazapar. But again, this is end time prophecy. This is Mark chapter 13 and 24. It says, and this Yahushua prophesying this, and if a kingdom be, and it just so happened to be Satan's physical counterparts. It says, and if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. And first and foremost, Esau, he ruling the whole world, but now Russia beefing with Ukraine, and Ukraine ain't really getting along with none of NATO. None of NATO want Ukraine in. And then the small hats, they ain't really on the same accord as America allies, but America helping them the most. So Esau all divided in his blessing in his world dominion. But even within the American house, it says, and if a house be divided against itself, it was all MAGA a couple months ago. It was all MAGA a couple months ago. People, the chest, the Nazi, Nazi. It was all MAGA a couple months ago, but it says a house to be divided against itself, the house cannot stand. And if Satan rise up against himself and be divided, he cannot stand, but have an end. So we see in the end of Esau, he can't agree on nothing. And again, I get this, and it's all a part of end time prophecy. 2 Ezra 9 and verse 1 in the GNT. He answered and said, consider all these things very carefully. When you see that some of the signs I have told you have happened, have appeared, you will know that the time has come when the Most High will bring judgment on the world he has created. So when we see these things, we know we're at the end of the world and the Lord about to bring his judgment. It says, first sign, there will be earthquakes. We see that. National rebellions. We've been seeing that. It says international intrigues, things that the nations are interested in. And what is that? Going digital. AI, a digital world, MOTBs, CBDCs. And what else? And unstable leaders, man. Unstable leaders. Nobody getting along. Treaties being broken. You told me in a treaty, put out all my fighter jets. Once I put them out, my enemy ally come destroy them.
Damn.
So it's like, what we doing? It says not just that, it says unstable leaders and confused rulers. And look, check this out. The Lord said, when you see these things happen, you will know that they are what the Most High has spoken about since the beginning of the creation, man. So we at the end. It says the beginning and the end of everything that happens in the world are clear. So we're clearly at the end of the world, in other words. You know, but that's it, Elder Tazapal. You know, you could take us out if you ain't happy.
Brothers. Yeah. I guess that's it. Yeah, brothers had posted that precept too. Alawap and I think Yahawada posted it.
Oh, okay. Khan, fire. Yep. Spirit.
Yep, Khan. Yeah, I guess that's it. I'm just checking. But yeah, Tawada to you all for tuning in again. You know, we pray that you all were edified. And we're gonna give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Chapadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, as well as the men that raised them up and taught them. And peace and blessings to the 144,000, as well as the rest of the elect. To the next one, y'all stay up, stay in tune. Shalom.
Shalom.